Hello, everyone. My name is Mike Millett. I'm a co-founder of a small recruiting agency called Craft Recruiting. I've been recruiting for a little over 8 years. I recruited at a large technical recruiting agency prior to starting my own. I'm here with Emre and Trevor. Trevor, you want to tell us about yourself?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Trevor. I'm the Director of Strategic Partnerships with the Crypto Recruiters. We are a staffing agency that is focused exclusively on blockchain, crypto, and Web3. I've been with the organization for 2 years coming up in a few weeks here. And the organization itself has been around for 4 years, and it was founded on the premise of rehumanizing the recruitment experience. Actually as a New Year's resolution, and really, I think that's something that really resonates being in Web3, crypto, and blockchain because it's very community-based and driven.
Hey everyone, I'm Emre. I'm the co-founder of Patika and Ryzen. I started my career as a consultant at McKinsey, and then I switched to technical training field, and I have been kind of in coding, coder training, and workforce development for about 10 years now. We built a few startups before, that trained lots of people and got them jobs in software development. And in the last year, we kind of stepped into Web3 technical training. And we are seeing lots of interesting stuff in the field. And this is kind of a new, there's a different kind of talent gap in Web3 that we are trying to kind of wrap our head around, and we are working with different protocols in the space, L1 and L2 protocols, who build the technical infrastructure for lots of different technical solutions with blockchain. And a lot of these protocols, like Solana, Polkadot, Ethereum, they're trying to develop their own talent ecosystems. So we partner with them and help them onboard lots of new developers who are junior developers or experienced developers to build on their ecosystem and bring it to the market, basically.
Thank you, Emre and Trevor. So this first question, it's a two-part question. What is talent in Web3 and blockchain? What roles are available in this space? And what skills are you seeing companies in this space looking for today?
Yeah, let me lead that off. So, in blockchain, crypto, and Web3, I think that you're going to see a lot of the same kind of traditional roles that you would see in any kind of organization, right? There's marketing type of opportunities, there are finance roles. Right now, there's obviously a lot of attention towards regulatory compliance, there are analytics positions. So anything that you can think of in a quote unquote traditional business, this also applies to blockchain, crypto, and Web3. Right now, just due to various market conditions and where we are economically, there's been more attention from a lot of organizations to really focus on building versus a quote unquote bull market. A lot of companies are hampering down, they're really focusing on the infrastructure and the things that are going to be instrumental in terms of their success as a business. So we're starting to see a lot more of our clients look for a lot of those technical roles, right? You're starting to see a lot of need for software engineers, developers, high-level CTOs, and other people that are going to be really driving the initiatives from the top down. And you're starting to see even more, marketing roles. You're starting to see business development roles, and you're starting to see a lot more partnership roles as well too. So that's kind of where we are with the landscape in terms of kind of what our clients are looking for. And working for a staffing agency, in a very highly competitive industry, right now we are very beholden to what our clients are looking for. So what our clients need is really determining what we are looking for when it comes to the actual talent pool out there.
Yeah, I think I agree with what Trevor is saying, and in general, a lot of Web3 companies are tech companies, and they need similar roles. But I think there are a couple different ways the companies in Web3 differ from the other tech companies. One of them is technology, so they need kind of people who are familiar with how to work with blockchain, how to work with protocols in the space, and that requires somewhat of a different technical stack for talent. In another way, again, as Trevor said, a lot of companies are focusing on making the business very viable, figuring out the product market fit. So we see lots of need in understanding the product and the market and where blockchain-based technologies can create value. And in an interesting way, the technical barrier is decreasing because a lot of, say, Ethereum-based and even other protocols are making their protocols easier to develop on. At some point, some of the stuff, say you want to issue NFTs or you want to do some other stuff, it is not that different from integrating your normal software with an API with another service. It doesn't require that much of a technical need in some cases. So it's kind of, as the infrastructure is developing, it's becoming more developer friendly, becoming more democratized, and then the shift is going towards more solving the market risk, and that is where we are seeing an increasing need, where people who understand where a blockchain-based business has an edge over a more traditional business. So from our view, the talent need is kind of shifting towards that side, and the technical things are being resolved over time. Lots of people are focusing on becoming smart contract developers, and I think there's going to be increasing demand there too, but a lot of smart contracts are public. You can just use existing smart contracts, and the need to develop, rewrite the whole thing is decreasing. So I think people are going to get better at just using the existing stuff, using the APIs, etc., and focus more on the product market fit and building skills and talent there and get employed in that area.
You know, one of the other things too, as you know, job seekers or people that are just in the industry overall, you know, a lot of our clients are looking for people that know the industry lingo, that understand the technology. You have to come into this with somewhat of an understanding, right? You know, if you're going to apply for a top organization within this space, you need to know things, and they aren't going to be able to handhold you, right? So I think that as a job seeker or as anyone that's just in the industry, you have to be of the mindset that you have to be continuously learning, you have to continuously educate yourself, you have to continuously add skills to your portfolio, right, to stay competitive, because it's extremely, extremely competitive in this industry, right? You know, right now, the overall supply versus demand, I mean, it's just not even close, right? So as an individual that's seeking to enter this industry, you have to go above and beyond to differentiate yourself, and you have to be extremely knowledgeable and continuously learning things and getting the experience. Even if you're new to the industry, you know, take that time to volunteer, you know, join a DAO, start up something on your own, right? Whatever you can possibly do to get that experience. That's what our clients are looking for, and they're coming to us saying, hey, we need someone with 3 to 5 years of experience. Well, that means that you need to start today, right? You can't start tomorrow, not next week, not the week after that. If you're really serious and passionate about this space, you have to be gaining experience by any means necessary, and there are ways to do that in this industry.
I want to add something to what you said. A lot of the things people build in the crypto space or Web3 space, the early adopters are people like them. Other Web3 enthusiasts or crypto enthusiasts. So as Trevor said, you need people who understand the lingo of that early adopter market, because that is what you're going to market in. That is the potential client base, the customer base that you have. So familiarizing yourself with the kind of the crypto or Web3 subculture makes a huge difference. As you mentioned, the lingo, people use different words, people mean different things, and they interact differently to some extent. So being more familiar with that whole ecosystem is a big skill advantage that people who are in the ecosystem already has.
Yeah, and when it comes to technology, right, you know, I'll end it on this. As a developer or anyone, you know, engineer coming into this space, obviously, right, you're going to need to be aware of smart contracts. You're going to need to know the differences between various protocols and what they are able to offer. You need to be able to, be strong when it comes to Solidity, right? Rust, Move, other type of programming languages, and understanding what that's going to do and why an organization wants to have that, whether it's for scalability, security, or just overall adaptability and something that's going to fit with what the actual product that they're offering. So the name of the game is to be continuously educating yourself and to be continuously advancing and not staying stagnant to be proficient in this industry.
So I think we touched on it quite a bit there, but any additional ways on, for the candidates out there, how to get the attention of an employer and secure a role in Web3 and blockchain? Emre?
Yeah, I think as Trevor mentioned, it's a very competitive state where there are a lot of technical people who want to get into this, and there are not that many roles, to be honest. But we also see there's a very high interest from the platforms, the protocols who are building the infrastructure here, who want to showcase what their protocol can do. And they cannot find enough people to build on their protocols. They allocate a lot of resources for ecosystem development, and they want more people to show what can be done. So they need more entrepreneurial people. They need people who can navigate the product market fit maze, and also who can build things. So if someone wants to get ahead, I would recommend them to build more things here and try to become more entrepreneurial here, and go to hackathons, meet other people, not focus on just building the technical skill, but build a more comprehensive set of skills to show that you can build, iterate, understand the markets, and those people, I think, get a lot of resources. The ones who want a job right now, because there's not that much employment in these companies, because there are not that many companies that scaled to hire, say, 10,000 developers like, say, Google does. Mm-hmm. So the focus is more on these entrepreneurial, more holistic skill sets as opposed to just technical.
Yeah, I think that's really important, Emre. You have to be highly adaptable. You have to be extremely flexible, right? You have to be willing to make a bit of sacrifices, right? A lot of startup organizations, they require long hours. You're going to have to be multifaceted, and you're going to not necessarily going to be able just to possess your job title, quote unquote, right? I'm seeing employers that are looking for social media managers that can also do community management. They can also do a lot of other things, right? You're looking at people that are in very highly technical roles. Clients are asking them to be able to converse with people in marketing departments, right? Being able to speak with people in the analytics departments, right? There has to be this very collaborative type of nature, and that you have to really think outside of the box and be very entrepreneurial in terms of taking control of your own career. It's one of the things that I think that's really great about this industry, and one of the things I love about it is that there is still a lot of collaborative type of sharing, and a lot of people in this space, if you're trying to enter into this industry, people want to help you, right? So you're not out there alone. You're not trying to have to go about this totally on your own. And I think that's one of the beautiful things about Web3, blockchain, and crypto at this point right now is that, people want to help. People want to share their knowledge. So if you're a job seeker, yes, you can work with a recruiter. You want to work with an in-house recruiter, which is someone that is at, a Kava Labs or a Coinbase or Gemini, right? Any of these other larger organizations, but also build a relationship with an agency that's going to be working with a multitude of different companies so that you can get as much exposure out there as a job seeker as you possibly can, right? And the time that you're putting into this, you have to also be proactive. You have to be the aggressor in this type of situation. You can't just sit around and wait. You can't just, apply to a bunch of jobs and sit back and think that, that's all that you have to do. You have to be a notorious networker. You have to go to events like this. You have to be on various social media platforms. You have to have a presence on LinkedIn, Telegram, Twitter, Discord. You have to really be connecting with different groups. You have to be learning all the time. So as a job seeker, in this space, you have to do things that are going to be maybe a little bit uncomfortable right now. And as you were mentioning, Emre, yes, there isn't a lot of, as much demand for particular positions as there were even a year ago right now, but we're still in the infancies of this industry. We're still developing. There's still so much room to grow. And if you can get in right now, this is I think honestly right now is like one of the best times to get into this space, because when adoption does come, when regulatory clarity does come, I mean, you're going to start seeing more traditional companies. You're going to see banks. You're going to see Web 2 companies, Web 2.5 companies that are trying to shift and use this technology. And if you're trying to get in then, then quote unquote, the train has left the station. And it might be a little bit too late, or it might just be much harder for you to get in. So right now, I think that the barriers to entry in this space, even though they might be difficult, it's a little bit lower than really when things take off, then you're just going to have a different kind of issue when it comes to getting a job.
I also want to add that, sometimes you got to get out of your comfort zone. There's so many online communities that are in this space that you can network and find like-minded people that are more than happy to help you and to kind of guide you through some of the things that may be tougher. And that's something newer in Web3 and blockchain, that there's like that much access to those that would be able to help guide you and assist. I also think that there's a lot to be said for a lot of projects building in public, and also like making contributions like different GitHub repos, and getting in DAOs like Trevor referred to. These kind of things will help you find potential managers in the future, or people that may know of other opportunities. That paired with working with an agency recruiter that always has their ear to the ground, trying to assess like where there's needs and where there's clients that are actively hiring, that's always beneficial. So that leads me to my next question, which is like, what should a candidate know about working with a recruiter?
Yeah. I think that people need to understand that working with a recruiter it's very much relationship based right now. I think that used to be a little bit different, and the industry's kind of changing. It used to be very transactional. Before it's like, hey, I have a job. Can you fill this job? Can you do it or not? And then that's pretty much it, right? That's how the conversation goes. Right now, I think that especially in a market like this, that you have to be proactive and you have to be understanding that you have to share really all the things that matter to you. You have to be very vulnerable. You have to be honest with yourself in terms of what you're looking for. You need to be very open to communication. And when you're working with a recruiter, if you don't hear from a recruiter, if you apply for a position and you don't hear from a recruiter for within the week, reach out to them, right? Just don't sit around and say, well, that person ghosted me. I don't know what happened, right? Take that opportunity to outreach to them and see what's going on, because it's their job to get back to you. And quite frankly, a lot of recruiters, they might have a job posted at noon, and by 2 p.m. that day, they have 1,000 job applicants, right? I mean, it's incredibly hard sometimes just to keep up with the tremendous volume. And right now, especially in this market, when there are much more jobs seekers than there are jobs, you have to do the things that are going to make you stand out.
You need
right?
to stay top of mind.
Absolutely stay top of mind, for sure.
And that recruiter may not have something for you today, but 2 months down the road, when a hiring manager that they'd worked with previously comes back to them and says, we have this role open, and think back to that conversation with that candidate, that you didn't have the perfect role for them that day, but you're going to be giving them a call back, very shortly after getting that new job requirement that just came in. So.
And one other thing too to add to that is that, this industry is still, people talk in this industry. It's still small, right? So the way that you act and the kind of attitude that you have, that's going to follow you, right? So be very cognizant of what you put on social media, the type of conversation that you're having with people, right? Understand that, if you may not be a fit for one job at one particular organization, but then that person, if you build a relationship with that recruiter, they might leave that organization. They might remember you, say, hey, you know what, I had a conversation with you a year ago, and I know that you were extremely passionate, you weren't really a great fit then, but since then, I've seen that you've done X, Y, Z. You've gained these things to your skill set. Now you're going to be a good fit for a role that we're working for. So understand that what you do now follows you throughout your entire career. I think that's really important, and to stay ahead of that for sure.
Can you give some time for questions?
Yeah. Let's touch on one last point or one last question, and then we'll open up to some questions here. Want to talk about why DEI matters in a recruitment strategy and in Web3 and blockchain.
Yeah. Diversity, equity, inclusion, it's interesting because I work for a woman-owned staffing agency. I think that there's obviously a push for more women and more inclusiveness in this space. And Web3, blockchain, and crypto is a very interesting industry because it's very global. So there are people and collaborations. I mean, a lot of the companies that I'm working for, they're remote first, right? Some of these companies don't even have physical offices. So you're getting people. You might have a person that's in the UK, and a person that's working in Ecuador, and a person that's working in the States, a person that's working in Canada, and all these people are very collaborative. So I think that one of the things that's interesting right now in Web3, blockchain, and crypto. That's a little bit different from a lot of organizations, a lot of other different industries, is that there is a push towards, kind of keeping a kind of inclusive environment where there's going to be representation from all type of individuals that are interested in this space, right? So I think that's really important, but still, nonetheless, right, organizations still have to hire the best person for the job. So they have to even kind of, toe the line a little bit with that. But I definitely see there's a lot more focus in it, yeah.
Anything you want to add, or should we open it up?
Yeah, sure. As Trevor mentioned, I think often here the definitions or expectations for DE&I are very much US-based expectations of disadvantaged communities, but a lot of crypto users and people who adopt these technologies are people who live in African countries, in India, and when we think about the inclusivity or representation, there's a chance to define it differently in a global sense. And probably being inclusive for a crypto company is very much about making foreign developers feel welcomed, or making the time zone more inclusive. You're probably going to find more developers in Web3 in, say, India, in Nigeria, than in Western countries, because to them, crypto solves a daily problem. And also people get into it after they use these products. Like, I don't personally use crypto products on a daily basis, but a lot of people in Nigeria, in India, in Turkey use these things as either investing opportunities or just solving their daily problems. So
if your currency has been devalued to the point where you would be resorting to using cryptocurrency as a kind of as a standard, it's looked at a little bit differently than it's kind of an option for us here in the U.S.
Yeah. And I think that lastly, I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to just be like a checkbox, right? That's something that companies are just doing to do it. I think that, having representation of people throughout the world when you're building a team in this space is great because, as you mentioned, right, the adoption rate, I've been fortunate enough to travel around the world, and it's just incredible to see, small mom and pop shops that are fully crypto.
Global.
I don't see that anywhere in Boston, right? It's incredible that, we're very much ahead of the game in so many things, but I think that, we're very behind the 8 ball when it comes to just really actually utilizing this technology and being able to understand it from a very conceptual standpoint. So, it's an interesting thing, and I think that's definitely going to be something important for organizations as they build their teams moving forward.
Cool. Any questions from anyone here? Please.
How competitive it is for job seekers to get into the industry. And you mentioned how you have to stand out above the rest. Like, what's one thing that you would recommend to stand out against all your other competitors?
So I think I heard that. So because it is a highly competitive industry, some of the things that you can do to stand out, there are so many things that you can do, right? If you're a developer, I would say, be vocal. Put yourself out there. A lot of people and candidates in this space right now, they are creating their own content. They're creating, YouTube channels about them just coding and developing. They're joining hackathons. They are being extremely vocal on various social media platforms, right? They're creating these own kind of organic groups. They're connecting with other people that are doing this as well too, right? So you have to think outside of the box, and what worked yesterday is not necessarily going to work tomorrow, because this pace moves so fast. So, you have to do those kind of things. You have to reach out to people and thought leaders in the space. Your network truly is your net worth in this space. So I would say connecting with as many people that are knowledgeable about this space as you can, learning from them, continuously educating yourself, and to really do those things to stand out. Get as much experience as you possibly can. Join as many organizations as you can. And if there's not an opportunity for you that you can find in a highly competitive space like this, create one for yourself. I've had people that actually started their own podcast because, it was a tough time getting a job. And then that podcast became successful, and that opened the door for them to, work as a communication specialist in a much larger organization. So really stay true to who you are. I would say, really understand what you want to do and have that internal conversation where your true passions are, and follow those dreams. And you have to never give up. What your failure may be today, that's going to be something that's going to help you learn and, propel in the future. So be tenacious, never give up, and always be evolving. And that's how you can stand out.
I'd also say sometimes it's important to even make contributions when it's not going to help you financially or monetarily today. I've seen people make contributions to projects or products, and then next thing you know, they're talking to the CTO or co-founder, and they're impressed by this, add-on or the tinkering that someone had done that's within their community.
Yeah.
I think in this space, there's more access to hiring managers and to leaders that are open to having those conversations with those that are using their product or that are engaged in the industry or the space. So that's
Yeah, and one last thing too, right? When you're reaching out, if you're trying to make a relationship with a recruiter, everyone's reaching out with the same standard message: I need a job. How can you help me? Right? And that's great. You have to do that. But I think that one of the other things that you can do to stand out is say, hey, you know what? I've done research on your organization. I might not be a fit for this role, but I'm really interested in this because I can solve this problem, right? So try to identify how are you going to be able to contribute and how you're going to help an organization get better. Instead of kind of coming from the mindset of me, think about what you can do for them and how are you going to differentiate yourself, and continuously reach out. You'll be surprised that, high-level people in organizations, they are actually open to having a chat with you, right? And just kind of come from that mindset and just be open-minded.
There's not too many other spaces where you'd be able to, direct message a founder on Telegram, and next thing you know, you're having coffee with them and, talking shop.
Yeah.
So I just kind of, I tell the candidates that I work with to take that approach, put yourself out there.